This is the 2BizChicks podcast. Each week, the hosts entertain you with real-life stories that are guaranteed to empower, enrich, and enlighten. The 2BizChicks are both entrepreneurs, authors, and public speakers with many diverse life experiences that bring a powerful message to each episode.
Hi, welcome to the 2BizChicks podcast. I'm Linda Rawson, and I'm here with Tammy Tran. And today we're interviewing Annette Pieper. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm lovingly known as the BadAss business chick, and I am a business growth expert. So that's a business side. I'm also a mother of two adult sons, a single mother, and have had to work through a lot of stuff to get to where I am being a single mother. So if any of you are listening or watching this that are single mothers, it could be a challenge to grow a business, but it's totally doable. And I love to hike. I love the outdoors. If I can be outside, I will be outside, even if it's shoveling snow. I want to be outside. So that's just a little blip, and I'm sure as we go through, you'll get more of my story.
So why don't you tell us why you're a badass?
I'm a badass because I've come through so much stuff. And to me, badass is really about doing the inner work so that you can get the outer results, really owning what you come through. It's like you're the phoenix that's risen from the ashes and you're ready to go for it. And so and I'm just starting to share this story. My first entrepreneurial venture was a drug dealer in high school and beyond high school. And of course, that was years ago and I've come through that. But back in the late 70s and early 80s, that was pretty badass. It was a man's world and I ventured into it. And so that's part of my badass story that I've just started sharing.
Well, I'd love to hear that story now that you brought it up. Tell us about that drug dealer.
I would too.
Yeah. It just started out in high school, just bumming money at lunch to buy speed. And then as it went on, after I got out of high school, I got into selling pot and then selling cocaine. A lot of it was to support my own habits. But then also there was that, the same thing that we work on in business right now is having a product or a service that people need and being the go-to person to supply that. And so little did I know, I was, not only supporting my own habits, which when we're in business, we support our lifestyle with our business, but I was also providing something that people needed and wanted and found a great way to market myself to get that business. So it's kind of crazy how that works. And then, I got away from it. I got married, got a family, started having a family, and I knew that was not a place I could be and be the kind of parent that I wanted to. So I completely left that world and never looked back.
That's smart. I mean, that's learning as you go for sure.
Absolutely. Sometimes I have regrets about it, but most of the time when I look back at my journey, it really has been part of who I've become and what I advocate for, and really how I've supported a lot of other people through their challenging habits that they've needed to break.
Well, so that brings me to a question. Where are you now? What are you becoming? What are you? In terms of business, what types of services do you offer?
Well, I do business growth coaching and training. I do VIP days where you sit down with me and we just map out your entire plan. So I like to focus on what I call profit planning. Not a lot of coaches out there that I know of really help you build a business plan. And I think a business plan is critical for business, and I think you need to update it every year. And a lot of coaches out there, they have their different ideas of what their little plan is, but I really like to help you build it from start to finish and then help you gain the confidence and get that mind, heart, and soul alignment to really bring it in. Because if you're not aligned in here, then you're not going to be able to get those results that you truly want, because you're going to unconsciously sabotage yourself without even knowing it, because you're not aligned with your goals.
That makes sense. That sounds
Yeah, I love that you talk about intention. That's really important, I think, mindset and being able to visualize where you want to be and then get there. That's awesome.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how have you progressed? I mean, that was in the 70s and 80s, and then you obviously got married. And what was your next business venture?
Actually, I worked in corporate America for many, many years. I worked in the electronic industry, a lot of that in the semiconductor industry. So I started as a person on the manufacturing line, and I worked myself up to a management position, a supervisory position, then into training, and then into engineering. And I spent 10 years as a failure analysis engineer, where I would look at where the parts were leaking energy, and I was able to make the reports and make the recommendations to the engineer of how that should be fixed. And so I use some of those same skills in my own business. Now I help people look at where they're leaking the energy, whether it's in their life or in their business, so that we can plug those leaks and they can get the results that they want. So I spent a lot of years doing that. And then a marriage crisis kind of sent me going into personal development. And from there, I felt that call that I needed to go help other people. And it's funny, what I found in the semiconductor industry is I had people coming to my cubicle all the time asking advice. I was already coaching people. And so it was just a great transition. And so I got laid off that job and started my first official business, which was Sacred Balance Lifestyle and Fitness Coaching. So I did personal training, hypnosis, hypnotherapy, life coaching, energy work. And then from there, I ended up a few years later, I went back and got a degree in psychology as well. And then a few years later, I ended up going back into the corporate world doing business coaching for another expert. And I did that for 3 years and realized how much I love business coaching and how good I was at it. And so I transitioned out of my fitness business into business coaching in 2009.
I think that's fantastic. And I've talked to a lot of, well, Linda and I both talked to a lot of people doing these interviews, and just people in general that we've learned from. And I found that the common theme is that people are successful when they just do what they're naturally good at. That's the passion, you know, and it might sound like a really difficult thing to someone else, but it's just something that's comes naturally to them when they're able to recognize that, follow their heart, and make that their passion, and their intention is to help people. They really seem to take off and be really successful. And I love that seems like it's been your journey too.
Exactly. Well, and even when I was in corporate America, I had those same entrepreneurial drives. I was never satisfied to just be the worker bee. If I saw something that needed to be changed, I was investigating. I was writing up ideas for process change. I got several awards while I was working there from the work that I did. So I was like an entrepreneur while I was in corporate America, and then just transferred those skills into entrepreneurship.
I think that's fantastic.
So it sounds like the whole time that you were building your business, you were also a single mom raising two boys. How did that affect? I mean, were you able to create that balance between personal and work?
You know, it took quite a while, because I got laid off a job, started a new business, left my marriage, and packed up my kids and moved to a new environment within 6 months of getting laid off my job. And then from there, you know, I went through a divorce. My son got involved in drugs and had some mental health issues, so it was dealing with that. My other son had just turned 19. So he was an adult, but still he was just trying to find his footing in the world. And it took about 4 years to go through all of that divorce, IRS audits from my previous business while I was trying to start a new business. And then my mom got sick and I ended up moving into her home to take care of her. So there was a lot going on there. And I think what helped me find balance was, first of all, having a great support network. Second of all, having my own inner journey practices where I was able to journal. I wasn't afraid to cry it out or talk it out. And also having that business plan or that profit plan that I talk about, because whenever I was stuck, whenever things were just not flowing, I'd hit my knees, help me. And I'd always get that intuition to look back at my profit plan, look at what I'd already set up for myself, and it was always able to help me get back on track. I was able to tweak it and get back on track. So I wasn't just flinging stuff out there hoping something would stick. I'd always go back to my plan, and that was my saving grace.
Wow, that's incredible. I can see why you're a badass.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got some things. I seem to know you've had a little bit of a struggle this year, right? You got into a car accident?
I did. I got into a car accident the first part of December, and it'll be 11 weeks tomorrow, and I'm just barely walking without a limp just the last couple of days, and still. Yeah, so that's been a real challenge, trying to balance running a business when you're in pain and you're doing 5 medical visits a week, and trying to find a new car because my car was totaled out. But I feel like I'm now shifting to the other side of that. So I'd say the first 10 weeks were rough, and now I'm starting to see that shift and putting my new branding together, and I'm ready to rock and roll now.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about some things that you have coming up now. It sounds like I'm a member of your Facebook group. I love it. I love all of the inspirational stuff that you post, and I may not always comment, and I'm kind of a lurker sometimes, but I do appreciate it. Comes up on my feed, and I enjoy the stuff that you're posting. And you've grown in membership, right, in that group?
Yes, and it continues to grow. And now that I'm getting a little more on the healthy side, I'm going to accelerate that growth. So that's the BadAss Business Builders Mastermind Group. And it really is about creating that environment where people feel free to ask questions, get help with what they need, give a tip if they want, and then there's opportunities to market. So that's one thing that I have going on. I'm also getting ready to launch a marketing webinar series. It will be no cost. I just really want to get this information out there. Haven't quite got the title down. I think it's going to be Marketing 3.0, but it really is about coming from that heart space and that more conscious social, creating an impact in other people's lives kind of space, which is really what is going on right now. But a lot of people are having a hard time shifting from the old marketing models to the new model. So I really want to get that information out there. So I have that coming up too, probably next week. That's my goal, is to launch it next week.
So it's going to be a webinar, and is it an unattended webinar, or will you be live in the webinar answering questions?
I will be live in the webinar. I don't know. I probably will open it up for Q&A afterwards. But for the most part, it's just going to be the webinar, but it'll be live. It won't be pre-recorded.
Oh, cool. That sounds fun. Yeah, I'll have to watch for that. That would be good. Part of some of my struggles have been identifying that target customer and the avatar, and realizing and even naming them, to find out, how to market and where to find them.
Right, and I'll be
So-
talking about that. That is part of the course, actually, that I was just working on yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good. And then you are going to be launching a podcast.
I am. So I'm
And-
still working on the title for that. I think it's going to be Badass in Business will be the title of the podcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely got to have that badass in there.
That's right. That's right. That's my signature.
It is. Well, terrific. Well, it's been a pleasure to interview you today. And is there anything else that you'd like to tell us?
Well, I have a free gift for everyone listening, because I am so into the whole heart, mind, soul alignment. I created a 4-week course that I like to offer out just to help people get that alignment going. It's called Be the Miracle. And the idea is really about, instead of wishing for that miracle to come along, to find out how to be the miracle in your own life and get that mind, heart, soul alignment. And so if anyone's interested in listening to that 4-week course, they can go to bethemiraclenow.com, and that's where they can get it. It's totally free, my gift to you, and it's really a fun course. Really makes you dig a little bit.
Oh, great. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing to help other entrepreneurs. And it's a karmic attitude where as you help other people, then abundance shows up, and have you experienced that in particular?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I just, the last couple of years, I've really made that transition to offering more free stuff, because that's when it comes back to you. And I think that's part of the marketing model that's changing, is a lot of people think they have to charge for everything. Oh, I'm doing a 4-week webinar, I've got to charge, $300 for it. But not necessarily. You've got to give people a taste of what you can do to help them in order for them to feel comfortable hiring you. So
yeah, the competition's fierce too. It is. Especially in the industry that you're in, for sure, it's fierce. So your strategy has been to offer something free, and then once they trust you, then to go ahead and charge and take on. Now, do you have personal coaching clients or group, or how?
I have both. I have one-on-one clients, and then I have a year-long group coaching program.
Oh, wow.
And so right now, that's what I'm really, and then a VIP day too is one of my other strategies that I use, where I just sit down with someone for a full day and we map everything out.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So you do a lot of strategic planning. That's great.
A lot of strategic planning and a lot of mindset work.
Oh, good.
Because the way I figure it is, you can have the greatest plan in the world, but if your mindset's not where it needs to be, or like I said, the mind, heart, and soul alignment, then you'll self-sabotage unconsciously, and then you won't be able to figure out why you're not getting results, because you got a plan. So
yep, I really like that. Well, okay, we're gonna wrap this up. Tammy had to run to an appointment. So,
okay.
Anyway,
well, thanks so much for inviting me to be on. I hope I wasn't bouncing around too much. I have a hard time sitting still when I'm talking. I'm so excited.
Well, I mean, that's what's good, is this video.